We're good to go. Okay, beautiful people. So it's Annalena Miranda here. Welcome to the live Q&A. We did receive some questions from all of you that we will cover first, and then also anybody that is actually live here. If you have any questions as well, please put them in the chat so that we can reply to them as well. And we are here to also answer some general human design questions, but of course there will also be a focus to talk about the Aligned Living Human Design certification that starts on May 25th that we're really super excited about. So we'll also be sharing a little bit more about that. You want to say something?
Yeah. First, we're grateful that you are here listening with us in person, or if you're watching the replay, thank you for asking those questions. Thank you for connecting with human design. We appreciate that. And if you are here, definitely, if you have questions that show up for you, definitely put all of them in the chat because we are here to respond and we'd love to answer questions. So don't be afraid to put anything in there. No question will go unanswered. Okay. So, and if you are watching the replay, definitely respond to the email if you have questions too. It's very important. We want to be able to answer your questions so that you feel safe, supported, and you understand whatever it is that's coming up for you.
Awesome. And I wanted to ask, or I think Ramsey, the name sounds familiar, right? I think you have taken some programs with us before. So if you want to say hi, what's your human design? We would absolutely love to hear that. So we're going to get started right now. So this here is the first question that we received from Ilse. So I'm going to read the question and then Miranda and I will talk a little bit about it. So she's asking, what is the price for the certification course? And then she's also asking, are there any scholarships available? I have been a meditation teacher and aura photographer for 10 years. And for 2 years, I have started my human design experiment. But since the war began and inflation in Latvia, people are more focusing on survival things. And I'm thinking about going back to an office job, but my body is totally not responding to it. I wish to implement HD in my work. And for a long time, I follow your podcast and Instagram and really feel that this course would be a perfect match for me. And then maybe if you look at my chart, you can tell my strength and how should I work with my low self-esteem to earn a living with all the good things I can offer. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's from Elsa. So wonderful questions. Thank you. And oh, we have a 3-5 manifesting generator. Wonderful. And we have a manifesting generator here, right? Ilse is also manifesting. She's a 2-4, like Miranda and I. So we're also 2-4. So we are like many gens here right now. So you wanna start responding to the question?
So the price of the investment or the price for the certification is $3,333. There is a pay in full and there is also a payment plan that is a little bit more, but not much. So with everything that we give in this certification, this is a phenomenal price because when we created this certification, we kind of did it through responding and we didn't know what was going to be in it. So we created through response. And then by the time that we were finished creating all the content, we gave everything from where we got certified through levels 1 through 4. So this is a phenomenal price for this certification because you learn all the things. As far as scholarships, we do have a process for that. It does depend on, I know you shared a little bit about what's going on in your country. So it does depend on some of that, as well as the size of the cohort and some other things. So if you want to talk to us personally, you can send us privately send us information, and then we can discuss that both Annalena and I together. And then if we decide to go through, then we could have a call with you. So there's a process to it. So just please reach out to us personally on a private level.
Yeah. And the one thing we want to say, there's most likely not going to be a full scholarship. So there's always some kind of investment because we do feel like that's also very important to be fully invested into it, right? And even if that's a small amount for you, we feel like that's really important. But again, this is just the exception. So reach out to us personally at info@Aligned Living Academy. about that. And now, so you are asking about, maybe if you look at my chart, you can tell me my strength and how should I work with my low self-esteem to earn a living with all the good things I can offer. So lots of things, right? It's a big question. I think that's probably one of the questions like almost everybody has, like, how can I, like, based on who I am in my human design, how can I have a successful business, right? Because money is important. And I think many of us, yeah, we want to save the world, we want to help people, we want to be of service, but it's also really important to receive money for what you do, right? And if I were to look at your chart, and I think both Miranda and I were just going to share a couple of things just from looking at your chart that kind of pop out. So you have an undefined will center. So this center is called the will center or heart or ego center. And when that is undefined, that means there is a tendency, or we can get more conditioned in there, because that center is all about self-worth. It's about willpower, self-worth. And there can be a tendency to prove or try to prove your self-worth so that you feel like you have to give something for free to, like, I'm going to actually make the connection right now to us from Miranda and I, right? Like, if we felt like we have to give everything away for free, also in terms of scholarships, right? Like we're not going to give everybody scholarships. We cannot run a business like that, but we could feel like we need to do it to prove our value and overgive and overdo, right? So that's something for you to just be really aware of. Like, when are you doing something just to prove your worth, right? And when are you really doing something because you're fully grounded in your value, right? Because you actually say, like, you have so many good things you can offer, right? And are you really excited by them? Do they really light you up? Because you're a manifesting generator. And I don't know if you have followed us for a long time, but we talk about this on the podcast a lot. We do this a lot in our courses for many gens and generators. You are meant to be doing what truly lights you up. And if right now your sacral is totally saying no to go back to an office job, that's what you're saying, right? My body doesn't want me. That's a reason. You're not supposed to be there, most likely. So your body is showing you you're meant to be somewhere else. And that may be scary, right? To tap into something else, because we are always, our mind is always looking for security, right? It's here to keep us alive, and it's the survival mode we're in. And very often it's like, oh, I need to have a secure job, right? Which from my experience, just to share, like, that can fall away from one day to the other. And oftentimes I actually find that building your own business is actually so much more security in the long run, because you build up your own, right? No matter if somebody's mad at you, the company doesn't want to have you there, like, you have your own company, right? You're the boss. So that's something that pops out as your undefined will center. And then the other thing that is also, and this is for everybody listening, are you following your strategy and authority, right? Are you really in tune with a way to respond? And this is something that takes time. This is something that in the certification, you will start to practice that. That is one thing very unique about our certification, is that you are going to actually dive deeper, first and foremost, into your own human design chart. So you have these aha moments, and you started, we work a lot on the deconditioning, right? Because so much with human design, I mean, the information is great and all of that stuff, and we get these aha moments and breakthrough moments. But if we're not doing the deconditioning work and actually move through our fears that are coming up, because you may know how your sacral response feels like, but then you don't take action on it, and you still do what doesn't light you up. And then what happens, so this is the sacral center, when you continue to do things that don't light you up, that you feel like you have to do, you get tired, you get exhausted, you kind of deplete this sacral energy that you have access to, right? But when in turn you shift and you start to do more of the things that really light you up, then money starts to flow. And you have that 214 channel, which is called one of the money energies.
Take a look at the 14, Annalena. She has it 3 times. It's a huge thing.
Yeah, it's in your earth, it's in your it's in your Saturn. So that is the energy. It's all about creation and creativity, where you respond to something and then you create. And that's actually, it's an energy, it's the only energy kind of in the chart where we're actually here to make money, right? It's that one channel where I'm also going to invite you, like, allow yourself to be motivated by money. I have this channel myself, so I pretty much know how this feels like. So people with this energy, like, when you respond with your sacral, by whatever lights you up, you create, you give direction, you put something out there, that also starts to attract abundance. But we have to allow that, right? And of course, the self-worth is connected here. So are you giving yourself really permission to put things out there and put a price tag on it, right? Because many times we create something, but then we're not asking for the money. But this is an energy, like, you're creating something to make money, right? So are you fully owning that?
Yeah, and the thing with the certification, if you choose to do this, there's so many things that I see in this chart right now that you will learn about yourself. Like, we can't just, like, there's the quad right, there's you have the gate 30 in your unconscious sun, and you have it in your Mercury, and is in detriment in your conscious sun. So you'll always have these desires. And is it okay that you have desires, or do you feel like it's not okay and you shouldn't have your desires? So there's also the channel, the 1-8, which is like, or the 8-1, which is uniquely you. Are you putting yourself out there uniquely you, without the conditioning of what you should be and what you should be creating and all of that? There's so much in this chart.
Yeah, it's this, you have a lot of individual circuitry, right? This is all about yourself. So if you are trying to imitate anybody else and you're not doing your thing, like, you have to go against the grain. It's super important. But if you're deviating from that and trying to please people or doing things because other people tell you that's what you should be doing, you come across very inauthentic. Your magnetism comes from your authenticity, right? And this is actually funny. We are right now in the 8th, actually, which is the conscious sun. So right now, so I think your birthday is probably tomorrow or today or something. Yeah, I think she actually said it. Yes, it's her birthday. So happy birthday. Yeah, because the sun just moved into gate 8, so that's also maybe like a sign. But yes, everything here, it's like, you gotta be you. And this is for all of us, but for you, it's like, you're gonna notice this so much quicker when you stop being your authentic self. And this is something for everybody right now. It takes time. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but to fully own who you are, right? And stop the people pleasing, stop to try to fit in, follow what everybody else is doing, but really have the courage to do your own thing. It takes time, right? And that's why we're here. And that's also, the certification it's not just a self-study program, right? We're actually here. There's a private community where you get access to us for 4 months. Miranda and I are there, everybody else in the community. And there's bi-weekly calls. You can bring any kind of calls. And we have seen this with people. Sometimes in the beginning, like, we don't get it, but then we start to practice. We actually start to, in your case, you have emotional authority, but you still want to really practice a sacral response. It's connected. Really get in touch with your emotional wave to see what are actually the right, I'm going to actually call it invitations from the universe for you. You're a 2-4 profile. So the more you can really fully live this out, you're going to actually attract a lot of, more abundance. Plus, this is actually something Miranda and I were talking about earlier, because we are both 2-4 profiles as well. With a 2 line, you're here to provoke people. So are you having the courage to trigger people a little bit by speaking your truth, right?
So, I will say, we say it's important for you to be our authentic self, but the truth is, a lot of us don't know who we are. We're only what we think we should be. We're only what we have created based on our experiences, based on what we think we should do, based on what people told us, based on our family. It's based on our conditioning. So we think we're being authentic, but we're not truly being authentic. And that's the part, is you start to see, oh, that was me because I created this belief about myself because of this experience. That isn't even who I am. So when we say your authentic self, it's not as easy as you think. It's about going in and actually deconditioning who you think you are and stepping fully into who you truly are. And that's important for your growth and in your business. Are you being your authentic self? And it's not a negative, it's just awareness. Like, are you truly being your authentic self? Are you using your voice the way you are here to use your voice? It's so much deeper than just being your authentic self, because we think we are, but it's not truly who we are. It's who we think we are based on our conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is why sometimes there's like, oh, just be yourself, right? Okay. It's not that easy. It's not just like, oh, I just need to be myself, because we don't even know who the heck we are, right? And this is why, well, we have seen it for ourselves. Like Miranda and I, we have been into our human design for quite some time. We also first got certified, and we immediately saw like there were some things that we have been suppressing for so long that we thought are wrong with us, so we shouldn't be this way. And it gets better and better, because right now the level of confidence we have in ourselves is like way more than it was a year ago, right? It keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so to kind of answer your question, Ilse, is that do the work consistently, and especially also integrate the deconditioning work. If that's with our support or somewhere else, of course, that's, I invite you to listen to your sacral, ride out your emotional wave, right? I think that's the most important with that. And leaning into discomfort when you want to say something, and because so often you may hold back from saying it because of like, oh, I shouldn't say this, what are people going to think about me? Or again, saying yes to something just to prove yourself. So are you really being authentic to yourself? That's really the question. Are you really being honest with yourself, right? Are you honoring your boundaries? Are you honoring your truth and all of that? So that is probably one of the biggest key. And what we have seen is that the deconditioning work really, really helps a lot with that. So that was that one. And I'm sure this also is going to be really helpful for other people, because we have seen this always, right? Like you ask one question for yourself, but other people may have very similar questions, right? So, okay, now we have Alina. Alina is a generator, a 5-1, sacral authority generator. And she's asking, is there a specific reason in my chart for why I'm not having much success with attracting, bringing in clients to my astrology business? So, do you want me to share a couple of things, or?
Yep.
Oh,
I was going to the fear.
Oh, go ahead. No, start.
So first of all, there's a lot of openness, right? So you're taking in energy from so many people and things around you. So of course, you're going to question like, what is me? Who am I, as far as with the undefined G center in the center? The predominant thing that stood out for me right away, first of all, was the spleen, because you have so much activation in the spleen. Like every single gate here is activated and defined, even a couple times, other than the 44. Mm. So what these represent is the spleen is all about instinct, intuition, patterns, but it also represents in the lowest frequency or lower frequency, the fears. And this is not a negative thing. We all have fears, but you have everything defined except for the 44. So that means there may be some fears that show up for you. You know, there's the fear of inadequacy and the fear of purposelessness, the fear of the 28 is 28 challenge. Like you're here to have challenges. The fear of what's 50?
The 50 is the fear, like it's the fear of responsibility, like every tendency to take over other people's responsibility, right? And make it easier for them, but then we neglect what we need to do for ourselves.
Yeah, and then there's the fear of the future, the fear of failure. So all of these are defined in your chart. So I'm just asking, like, have you noticed that these fears show up And what do? Do you let those fears hold you back, or do you step into them and say, we always like to say, feel the fear and do it anyway, you know? So that is one of the first things that I noticed, is asking yourself, are any of those things relevant? Have you noticed it? And what have you done? And how can you change that? So that was I noticed.
Yeah, and because you have, so you're a sacral authority generator and the spleen is defined. So you're a pretty quick decision maker looking at your design, because you have single definition. So everything of these is all connected. There's not a like a gap with an undefined gate or something like that. So you just know. And because there is this fear of the future, or actually your biggest challenge overall in life is, we call this the core wound. So the 48 is the fear of inadequacy. So you may be this amazing astrologer and you can actually change people's life, but you feel still that you don't know enough. And just as I'm saying this right now, when you listen to the replay, just be honest with yourself. It's again, we're not here to judge. It's like we're all humans. We all go through this stuff, right? We all feel this at some point. But the fear of inadequacy is kind of like one of the biggest challenges you continue having through your life. But this also be the greatest source of potential for you to actually unlock your prosperity as well. When you can move through that fear, you actually tap into resourcefulness and wisdom. And the message here is really like, you gotta trust that you know exactly what you need to know at this moment, right? So, and in the lower expression, what can happen is that we hide too much and we keep learning and learning and learning and taking in more and more information. And you have 5-1 profile. So the one line has also a tendency, it's very much like the 48 gate, where you get too much into the consuming of information, but you're not going to get out there and actually do the thing, right? So, and then on the flip side, so you have this crystal clear intuition, but you may have those fears that hold you back, right? You know, you want to take the thing, and then it's like, I'm scared, and no, I'm not going to do it, and da, 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 right? And then the other thing is that you're so open. You have undefined solar plexus, will center, G center, throat, head and ajna, everything is undefined, right? So you take on a lot of energies from around you. You most likely also with gate 19, highly sensitive, highly empathic person. And probably also introverted. And these are all your strengths. That's not a bad thing, but there may be a tendency that, especially with having these three here undefined, to want to please people, to want to make everybody happy, right? And you have the gate 51 in your conscious sun and in your Mercury. Mercury is what we're here to talk about. This is like what you're here to radiate out into the world. You're here to give practical solutions to people as a 5 line. And the 51 is in human design, it's all about kind of actually agitating people a little bit, shocking people a little bit, because you're speaking your truth and people may be triggered by it. And there's a huge power for actually awakening people, right? And because so often you may have seen this, like people don't change until they get like a little bit of a wake-up call, or somebody saying something that nobody else dares to say, right? And when we have so much openness in the chart, we may hold back, right? We really may hold back. And for you to really fully step into the 51, you have to be so in tune with your intuition. The intuition is like your earth gate. That's what you're grounded in. So when you have this intuitive hit to say something, say it, right?
And the 61 in the unconscious with wonder and curiosity, are you being too serious? Like, are you getting too much caught up rather than being curious, having awe, having wonder? That's the energy you're actually here to put out. So noticing that as well.
Yeah. And with the 62, it's all about details. So it's important for you to prepare it. But again, in the lower expression, it can be like getting caught up in too many details, which is the same circuitry as the 48, right? It's kind of very, very similar energy here. So that's why the main thing I would advise to work on is dive deeper into your chart, get to know yourself better, do the deconditioning, right? That's all stuff we do in the certification. If you're interested in that, because human design is also, it's a beautiful a complement to astrology, right? If you're already like an expert with astrology, that could be a beautiful opening for yourself. But the one thing I want to say here is, because there's such a big wound for you to needing to know more, I would only want you to make that decision to join the certification if that's a sacral yes, right? If this is like, oh yeah, I want to be there. I actually want to do this for myself, right? Not from a place of like, oh, I need to know more because I don't know enough, right? That's really important.
And noticing if it is from the head or the sacral, because a lot of people don't understand what the sacral response is, because you feel in the sacral and then all of a sudden you get up in the head and you're thinking about things. Should this work for me? Will this make my business more? And then that's anytime you're asking that question and you're thinking, that's head. You're not in the sacral. So it's that intuitive hit, like, ooh, this feels like something. But then what happens is we get up in the head and question it. And then what happens is we follow this. But if you come back to that sacral response, what was that feeling before you got all heady?
So, Alina, we hope this is helpful. I know we said a lot, and of course, there's more. We can talk about a chart for like 8 hours or something like that, right? But it all boils down to following your strategy. Are you really in tune with that sacral response? And yeah, really making decisions from that, as opposed to making decisions from our not self, right? Where we're people pleasing, we're holding back who we really are. And you're very, very powerful, very unique, right? And that's exactly what the world needs. So
clients to your business, human design for Annalena and I we are so much more aware of who our ideal client is, how we put ourselves out there, what we're here to really speak about, what are our strengths, where we need support. And we are doing this through human design. So be wanting to build the business too, and you feel like, okay, human design is something I want for myself first, and then maybe you also want to bring it out to your business. Beautiful. When I first started human design, it was not for my business. It was for me to learn about me. That's why I got certified. But then as soon as I got certified, it's like, oh, like I need to get this out there because it's given me so much fun, freedom. It's given me so much more confidence in knowing who I am. It's given me so much that I felt like we need to bring this out into the world. But originally it was for my own personal self. And then it helped grow the business as well, because you know yourself so much deeper than you originally thought.
yeah. So we trust that this was helpful for you, Alina. And now we're gonna go next to Afi. I hope I say your name correct. So she's a reflector, which is super special because only like around 1% of people are reflectors. And the way that you can spot a reflector is that all these centers are white, right? Everything is undefined. So that means there's not one single channel defined in the chart. And I know Afi a little bit. We have been chatting on Instagram. She's a beautiful designer. She makes these beautiful pieces of art. So she's saying, I have a small art business. I'm an artist who creates reflective and immersive ink art, inspiring women to love and celebrate themselves so they live the beautiful, fulfilling life they deserve. I know my artwork is valuable and beautiful, but I still find it difficult to switch my thinking into a mindset of I'm not selling, I'm serving. And I think that has made it tricky for me to achieve sales. Do you have any advice on how I can show my serving in a way that feels authentic? As a reflector, it seems to be quite challenging to find in-depth information about my design that isn't repetitive, which is a shame. Do you want to say something about that? I'm not selling, I'm serving.
Well, I mean, I know we've worked on this a lot.
Yeah, because I think that's such an important conversation to have, right?
Yeah. And through my deconditioning and personal growth and continued deconditioning, I realized that it's the energy that you put behind it, right? It's, yes, we do need to make money. We have to make money so that we can continue to serve. So we can't serve if we're not supported. We can't pay our bills. If we have to do that. But it's the energy that you put behind it. It's like, am I doing this art to make money, or am I doing this art because it feels good and I want people to have this in their house and experience this? So it's the way that you feel into your body about the experience. So if you're doing things like, I'm creating this program to make money so that I can support myself, that's a lot different than I'm creating this program because I really believe in this, have passion about this, bring it out, and yes, I will receive money. So it's the energy that you put out there. It is the same thing, I feel, but it's the energy that you put as you put things out there and while you create it. That's my experience.
Yeah, and I want to say a little bit, because Afi, I have seen your artwork. I find it really beautiful. It looks amazing. So we have to, because we have this kind of conditioning about selling, right? And it's this like, oh, I just want to sell people something. Like, I mean, and we have all grown up with this, I think, and it has like a bad rap in some way, right? But I'm going to share with you, like, from my experience, like having seen some of you, not in person, but I've seen it on Instagram, right? It's so calming. It's so beautiful, right? And it's for example, for me in my human design, and this is for many people that I've looked at so many charts, like beauty in your environment is actually so important for your well-being. It's very often very important for our health and well-being, right? And just imagine, how do you feel in a room that is all dark and has like very unpleasant pictures on the wall or something like that? And then imagine you walk into a room where you have this like beautiful, calming, inspiring piece of art, right? That you see every day. It makes you feel radiant, right? It just creates like a beautiful atmosphere, because who are you being then, right? And so it's really like, who are you talking about? This is like, you're talking to people that really value a beautiful and inspiring environment, right? And especially with human design, there's a huge connection with that, right? That because for many people, the visual is so important for them, what's around them. And then the other thing with selling, and you have that gate 26, where is it in your chart? It's your north node. So gate 26 is kind of the selling gate, so to say. It's all about integrity, and in the highest expression, you actually market what you have to the world because you know its value, right? And you may also, because the undefined will center, we talked about this earlier, there may be a part of you that feels like you don't value your work enough, right? And then you feel like you have to prove yourself with something, and it's about you, how you feel about it and how you feel about yourself. And that's again where all this deconditioning work comes in, that is so helpful, right? And ultimately it's about, if you don't market this and you put it up for sale, right? People don't even know what beautiful stuff is out there, right? And I actually was thinking yesterday, I was driving home and I was thinking about, like a supermarket, they always have something to sell because people want to eat. There's food, right? And so people want to look at pretty things, and that's pictures, right? Like, anybody that has a business, there should always be something to sell, right? I mean, how would you feel if you go to a store and there's nothing you can buy, right? So what if people actually want it? And we are being of disservice if we are not putting it out there to sell. And I think we just have this bad thing with selling because it's with money, but we need to make money no matter what it is. If you have a corporate job, if you have your own business even more so, because if you have your own business, you have taxes to pay, you have like a lot of other things that you have to pay, right? Like to keep the business running and monthly subscriptions and whatsoever. You better ask for money, right? Because that's, as of today, that's the currency we have. Maybe that's going to change over time. We already have cryptocurrency and things like that on the horizon. But as of now, that energetic exchange is money. And money is energy. Money is supposed to flow. So when we actually stop asking for money, we're also blocking the natural flow of money. Like, no, I don't want it. It's bad. So we're actually interrupting how nature flows, instead of like, let me fully dive into the flow of money by putting a price tag on it and putting it out with confidence. We're participating in the natural flow of money. And there are so many people out there that would just love to give you the money for this beautiful artwork, right?
And then for you, because you asked any advice on how I can show my serving in a way that feels authentic. You have the gate 48 3 times in your chart. I know this gate very well. It's in my conscious sun. This is the gate of inadequacy in the lower expression. And in the higher expression, it's wisdom. So asking yourself, I mean, are you feeling inadequate in certain ways? Are you questioning your art, or are you questioning how you put yourself out there? Because this actually holds you back to step fully authentically out there. So asking about the inadequacy and noticing where that is showing up for you, because you do have that 3 times, so that shows it's a theme in your chart.
Yeah, and it's funny, right? Because the previous chart was also gate 48, so it seems to be a little bit of a theme here. And just so you know, you have this, if you look at the planets, you have the 48 in both your conscious and unconscious Jupiter. That's the planet for blessings, prosperity, abundance. And
And it's in the moon.
yeah, it's also what drives you, right? Exactly. So it's a very, very strong, also emotional energy for you. So this is if you are in the, and again, this is about awareness, Effie, right? It's not about, this is actually a huge potential for you right now. Like when you can really face this fear of inadequacy and really go into that, that's what we do, like when we work on the deconditioning stuff, right? But we're really honest with yourself, like of how you actually, like it's almost like you have a little baby, but it's your inner child, and you're just really meeting that part of you with compassion that is feels so inadequate, right? Of who am I? I'm just making art here. Who wants this, right? Whatever that story is that you have for yourself. But that's where you can unlock the most prosperity for you, when you really dive into that and unlock this gift of wisdom. Because
I just read the bottom part here. As a reflector, it seems to be quite challenging to find in depth. So the 40.
Yeah, yes, that's so true. So depth, this is actually, it's also called the gate of depth, right? In a higher expression, this energy. And it's also, just to share with you guys, so we have a mastermind as well. It's called Depth. And this is typically, we offer this for people that are more advanced in human design. So you have to have taken some courses already. And so the certification, for example, once you go through the certification, you have all the in-depth information, right, about the types and about yourself. And then in depth, we go deeper into everything, because it takes time, it takes practice, it takes being around people that believe in us, because we need to hear it sometimes. We keep forgetting that, right? But yeah, the 48, so you kind of already talked, you know who you are, you know you like depth. So the 48, Miranda is that too, right? You have that 48, you love depth. And for you, Afi, for example, I'm just going to put it out there, because oftentimes when we have challenges or we get pissed or frustrated about things, that's how we can, it's oftentimes the fuel to create something, right? So maybe you will be the one creating more information about reflectors in the world, because
Goosebumps.
Yeah, I guess there's something, I don't know, just came to me. But like I have to be honest with you, like I'm not a reflector. I will never be able to understand what it means to be a reflector like you, because you are a reflector. I would be happy to learn from you. Of course, in the certification, we share everything about the reflector that's relevant and about the type, but it's really from your experience, right? And this is, for example, why Miranda and I, in our like other programs that we have at the Aligned Living Academy, and Ramsey, I think you will know this, we've mainly focused on working with manifesting generators, because we know very well what it means to have a defined sacral, right? And the sacral response, like we practice this, we breathe, and we know that's how we can best help people, you know? So, and also you have also used the word here, I feel like you have used reflective, you have who creates reflective and immersive ink arts. So that is also you being a reflector, right? And it could be just to help reflectors to reflect back to the reflectors of who you are, right? Because you can get so caught up into everybody else's energies, right? And that could be a supportive element for that, right? Or create beautiful pieces of art for reflector charts. But I feel like there's something there for you to actually create more awareness about the reflector, because the reflector is so important. Like, you guys are here to reflect back the health of the community, right? So if we are like not doing well as a community, like, we see this because you reflected back to us. So you're kind of this like barometer for the world, showing us how we're doing overall as a collective, right? And just because it's such a small percentage doesn't mean it's super important. I truly believe, like, if we focus on less, I think I said this one time before, and now it comes back to me, like, I had the epiphany at some point, like, if we were to focus mainly on supporting the reflectors to be really well, because let's think about it. If all the reflectors are really well, fully in their power, that means everybody else will be in their power too, because they're reflecting this back to humanity. So for me, in a way, focusing on reflectors is almost a shortcut for the well-being of humanity as a whole. So you hold a very precious key for humanity, right? So if you were able to first step into more your power and then support humanity with that, that feels very powerful.
Ramsey, wondering if you have any insights or anything that came up for you while we were going through these 3 questions and charts?
Yeah, or you maybe have a particular question. You can unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so embarrassed that I didn't read the previous emails about submitting a question in my chart. I'm like, shoot, I'm missing such a massive opportunity here, but that's probably just
No, that's okay. I mean,
who I am.
if you have your chart right now, you can put it in the chat. I can still pull it up. We'll see. But you can also tell us. Just tell us and we'll take it from there.
I feel like, to be honest, I just started reading human design. I just got like a book about it. I'm just fascinated by it because I feel like once I tapped into it, I realized how much permission it kind of gives you to like be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm loving the concept of your program and offering all of this deconditioning. I think that that's really massive.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I want to submit my chart. Can you guys give me a minute? I'm going to like tap in from my computer because I think it'll be easier for me to drop it in there. I don't want to like jump off the call. But I'm just curious, and we've talked before, Alanya, because you and I have like a personal one-on-one, like just like, intro meeting or whatever. I work for my father and
you sound so familiar. I was like, I think, we talked before. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, I'm starting to realize that I have this like really beautiful gift of like spreading joy everywhere and sort of, and I'm searching, right? Like I'm 41. It's so interesting. I feel like it's taken me this long to sort of like nail that down.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to make the leap from lifting people up and making everyone happy all the time to making a business out of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And somehow removing guilt from this idea that, that should be free, or, you know what I'm saying? Versus, valuing myself enough to know that there's an energy exchange there. Right. And sometimes that involves monetary compensation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I remember you're in Colorado, right?
I am in Colorado.
Yeah, it's funny. Miranda just came back from Colorado yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was there.
Where in Colorado? Elizabeth, Colorado? Cute. I went to college with someone from there.
Yeah, I was there working with some horses.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
So amazing.
Yeah, that sounds so dreamy. And was it rainy or was it?
Everybody, we are so excited to be here with you.
That was you.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to.
Oh yeah, wait, I think I heard myself or something.
I know, I clicked on the wrong email that you guys sent me.
No worries. Oh, it was the 5-day thing.
Yeah, it was rainy there. It was very windy and very cold because I'm in Florida. We're both in Florida, actually. But it was so amazing. It's beautiful there. There's so much land. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, Colorado is a pretty dreamy place to be. I'm feeling like a pretty lucky lady.
So you are joining with another email or something?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You just probably have to put the other one on mute. Or we're
Yeah,
gonna have it twice or something. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you're back.
And you're on mute.
So I actually, yeah. So did you get your chart? Okay, are you back?
If you're back, you're on mute.
Yeah, okay, now
I am here. I'm just trying to figure out how to make my screen smaller so I can drag my
okay.
chart in here.
You know what? I may have your chart.
Oh, really? That would be amazing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop sharing this for just a second here. I'm just gonna check, okay? And you guys can check. So you're 3/5 Manigen, right?
I am a 3/5 Manigen, yes.
Yeah, I have your chart. You see? I knew it. Okay, so I'm gonna make this easy so you don't have to send it, and I'm just gonna put it in the slides, and then I'm gonna okay, so here we go. We will be right back. Okay, so no. I just have to find now I have to find the slides. Okay, it's more complicated than I thought, but I'll figure it out. So Ramsey, say it again. Like your main question is like you were talking about bringing joy to people, right?
Yeah,
And
like I just like taking this leap from feeling like every time I enter a room, like I really do feel an energetic shift. I feel like I do a really good job at making people feel super comfortable.
yeah.
And I feel like I don't have shallow conversations. All my conversations ends up being super deep. And I feel like there's always some sort of wisdom that I offer. I'm a Kundalini yoga practicer. I haven't done any, official training or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like I like have so many tools that I then always find a reason to share it with someone else. And so I'm just like, I just don't understand how to make the leap from letting that be something that's just a gift that I offer when I enter a room, and then making the leap from trying to make it more of a career, right? And using tools like human design or any type of coaching, aspects, I suppose. And also last week I had this massive pop-up for my father's jewelry gallery up here in Vail. And I like really felt in my body, like my cheeks hurt from smiling every time I was meditating. Like I was like, this is going to be a massive success. And I didn't hit the mark. It's so interesting. So I'm curious about this idea around how I use human design to connect the feeling that I have, because I'm a non-specific manifester,
Yeah.
to making it a reality, right? Like, I don't know if there's like a disconnect in my trust in myself, or if I don't fully believe it, even though I feel it. So like it's an electrified feeling. And that's not to say it won't still come, right?
Yeah. So there's something about divine timing, right? And sometimes you may feel something and then we expect it to happen the next day, right? But what you connected with may just really become a reality 6 months later or something like that, right? And it's not, and yeah, like you say, you're non-specific. So that this arrow is to the right, you're non-specific manifesting type. So it's not about hitting, because when you say hitting the mark, it was a specific number.
Yes. Well, and also like I had this vision that everything was gone from my pop-up except for like 1 or 2 pairs of earrings. Like I saw the table and it was empty ish,
And then in reality that didn't happen.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, they could still happen sometime, somewhere in the future, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, and it's interesting too, because in my mind, I was like, this is going to be the tool that offers me freedom in how I operate so that I can spend more time investing. And also it was going to, you know, add, money into my savings account so I can continue investing in things like this, right? Like learning and figuring out a way to use my gifts to, help uplift the collective, right?
yeah.
I want to point the word figuring there. Right? Because you said figuring, which you do have the Ajahn defined, but it's about trusting. So the figuring is the mind, right? So you had this figured out, but it is all about right timing, which you do have the root undefined and the head undefined. So you can have this pressure to figure things out now. I want to get everything done now. I want the to-do list done now. But it's about trusting the right divine timing, not figuring out what you want.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm.
And I
And-
actually feel that like internally, like right now, there's so much to do to follow up from the pop-up and also to, like I have this massive to-do list and I'm tired, and I want to like lean into being in rest, right? And then I'm feeling like, but if I do that, then I'm going to lose momentum or, I'm not going to follow up with this client on time or, right? So it's like, I feel this need to trust my timing, but it's hard because everyone else's timing like puts so much pressure on you to meet them where they are, right?
Yeah. Annalena, can you talk about the 40 in the moon?
Yeah, I was gonna already look at it. I was like, does she have the 40? And it's in her moon. So that's very, I'm glad you brought this up, Ramsey, because so you're trying to make it around everybody else's timing, right?
Yeah.
And so we over sacrifice, like, oh, but they need to have it now, and and that's when we get into the people pleasing, right? We're into like, okay, what do other people need? But I'm not even like, we have to look at our needs first. And you have, so this gate 40 is called the gate of restoration or aloneness. So it's about finding the balance between doing and being, really, right? And probably you feel tired because you have been too much in the doing, right?
Yeah.
And especially with a will center defined, that center needs consistent rest. So even though you are a manifesting generator, which oftentimes we are people mistakenly think we can do it all, right? Because we're such a bundle of energy. But you need consistent rest. And this can really burn us out in a big way. So especially if you fall for the pressure, oh, I need to do this because people are ready now and they need it now and I need to do it. Or we have this fear of missing out. I should have done it yesterday, or right? That's all operating from the not self. That's how we are more repelling stuff. And the more you can lean into more taking care of your needs, and this is all about it. It doesn't mean like, oh, sitting on the couch and resting. It's more actually about, what do you experience as restful? It could be like going out for a walk in the mountains, right? It could be doing the Kundalini yoga. That's restful for you, right?
Yeah.
What nourishes you, right? What is relaxing? It's also a lot has to do about physical relaxation and about actually allowing yourself to do nothing, which can be very triggering, right? Like especially with the head and root undefined, like, but I need to be doing something. I need to make money. I need to like go, right? Like we have this like constant pressure. But the more we can get out of the head, which may be challenging for you in particular because you have the Ajna defined, so you're very much a head person, right? There's a lot going on there. And you need to talk things out. It's very important for you. You need to talk things out also to get clarity along with your writing out your emotional wave, right? And the more you do that, the more you will get clarity with your sacral response and your emotional wave when it's time to do something, right? You're not here to make big decisions when you feel in that high or low of your wave, right? You're not here to make decisions to make other people happy because there may be a fear of rejection, right? Because very often we do things just to please others, or not people to reject us or to upset them. And what this all does is like we are not honoring ourselves, right? And of course, to flip the script, it takes a little bit of time, right? Because we have been operating from this like, go get it done, I have to do it, from the pressure for so long. And with force and pressure, we can make money like we have seen. But the body has shown us it makes us tired, we're exhausted, it's depleting. So it takes a little bit of time and trust more than anything to really lean into like the sacred. What is it that lights you up? You have super high intuition with a 57, like you just know, right? And when you trust that and you create from this like sacral juiciness, like where you're really lit up to do something and it doesn't make any kind of sense, the mind is like, well, how is this going to make money? This is nonsense, right? It's like those unreasonable things, just because we feel so we have this groundedness in the body, it really lights you up, right? And then you do that from that place, we create these magical things that also then will attract more abundance and prosperity into our lives, right?
And when you follow your intuition, your sacral, it won't be hard. You won't think about it. It just happens. And the 40-35 in your moon, the moon is all about what drives you, emotions. You know, you have the 40, which is all about rest, but then you have 35, which is all about experience. So you have a conundrum there. You have this create new experiences, and in the 3 line, which is about experimenting and new experiences, and then you have the 40, which is all about rest and restore, and the 2 line, which is the hermit. So your motivation can fight against itself, but if you follow strategy, that's where the magic happens. So you won't fight yourself because you'll follow your intuition, you'll follow that gut response. So then you will know when the right timing is.
And I think there will be a way to integrate like you experiences that still feel restful, right? So yeah, so it can actually like be really, and maybe there's some experiences you just want to like be on your own, and then there's others where you're in the party and you're with the people. That's more like the 3 line energy, right? So it's about integrating all of these for you.
Do you think that because of my head is so defined and I'm so in my head that it makes it difficult and challenging for me to listen to my intuition?
It can be. So just to give you an idea, like your intuition and it's like from the spleen, right? That's like the knowing in the now. And it's very subtle. It's very subtle. The mind tends to be 2 times as loud as the spleen. And the emotions tend to be 4 times as loud as the spleen. That's why you never want to make a really big decision when the emotions, when you feel like the high and the low, right? When you feel like really up high, super excited, all the expectations, and then boom down, it crashes really quick, right? This is not the place for you to make the big decisions, right? You won't be able to really get in touch much with your intuition. But when you have the patience to write that out, and then also empty your head, but you need to talk things out, get it out. It's almost like a trash can, like release the crap that's going on there. Like I'm just releasing it. It's just to unfiltered. It's very helpful for you to have a sounding board, just people to listen to. You don't want to have advice or anything. Let me just talk it out. And then you can, okay, now I can really connect more with my intuition and your sacral as well, right? And of course, I think the Kundalini, anything that helps you get out of your head into your body will help you with that. But if you are not fully leaning into the emotional authority and you're not allowing yourself to just talk things out, it's going to be very challenging for you to actually hear those subtle whispers of your intuition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I'm so grateful. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. Any more questions or?
No, I feel like that's like the perfect, like, I feel like that was the remedy I needed to hear just to like even survive this week. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it's now about like actually implementing it and doing it, right? So maybe just see what's one thing you can do every day to practice that.
Yeah,
right?
I'm definitely going to start talking it out more because I don't do that a lot. I like to process on my own, and that typically involves being in my own brain. So
Yeah. And oftentimes it can create these loops and we get so caught up here and we're like totally disconnected from the body, but all the decision making happens in the body, not here. So
And also recommend first, if you're talking to someone, let them know you don't want them to fix anything or give you answers. You're just talking
mhm.
because sometimes when we talk to people, I tell my husband all the time, I'm going to talk things out to you. I don't want answers. I don't want you to fix anything. I'm not going to listen to you unless it feels right. So just let me talk. So whoever it is that you're going to use as a sounding board, or maybe you'll use your phone and record it or something, just as a way to get everything out of the mind.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. So we just wanted to now go through a couple of other things also about, so these are some people we have worked with and they have worked with us for readings or longer periods of times and have stepped further into their human design. And we just want to leave this with you as a little bit of inspiration what really can happen for people, right? And I can tell you all of them, like especially Lisa down here, she's like a jewelry artist. She's a generator. It has taken a lot of courage to really lean into her following her emotional authority, her sacral response, and all of that. And she has gone from wanting to throw it out, her jewelry bench, and now she's really like creating beautiful jewelry, and she has sold a lot of her stuff, right? So she's really like fully leaned into her purpose. And these are just stories like on the website as well. We're going to share this like probably below the video here. I'm going to share a link to the site. We have lots of testimonials, actually some videos. I really encourage you to watch them because sometimes we know like that really helps, right? To actually hear from other people like, okay, what has human design actually done for you? And you want to talk about Tamara, Miranda?
Yeah, she's a manifester. And like it says here, she has 5 kids. She was just starting her business. And when we spoke, like she broke down. She broke down crying because she felt like she always had to do, and finish everything. But as a manifester, you get these beautiful sparks of inspiration. You get this spark of energy. And then a lot of the times you don't finish. You actually need the support from others to help finish because she's here to initiate, to start things, right? And actually permission to take a nap. Like it was a huge step for her to be like, okay, I'm allowed to take a nap. I knew this, but I always felt like something was wrong with me. I should force myself through the day and then sleep at night. So since she did that, she was able to have 3 sparks of energy during the day because she gave herself time to nap in between. And it just gave her permission to be herself. She wrote the book, I Am Enough, because she has so much activation in her G center. And it was just a beautiful experience to be able to support her in that awareness of who she is and then letting go of all the crap of who she thought she had to be. It was very, very powerful in that way.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So now we want to invite you to imagine that you're really in this place where you embody your human design more, right? Where you do follow your strategy with more ease. And where you're no longer, because I think that's the biggest challenge that we have seen with people, like you're up in your head, right? Yeah, you have a sacral response and you're like, oh, it's to do it, but then you don't do it because there's fears come up or you overthink it, you analyze it. Or you may think, okay, how am I going to make money with this? Following your human design means to trust that first step, right? We are not here to give you a guarantee. We cannot. We can tell you that for us, it has been very profitable to step into our own human design. I mean, we didn't do human design to make X amount of money, right? It wasn't like, it was just, we felt this pull in our body, like, wow, this is something very different. And so both Miranda and I, we got certified ourselves. And we saw what it did for us. And then we started to give readings for people. And you guys have never seen anything like this, where people like, just from a reading, like their life changes. Because they feel so seen, like they have never felt so seen their entire freaking life. They're like, oh, okay, this is just who I am. And so many times also we talk about the deconditioning work, which is the inner healing work, right? And so often we work on fixing things, that are simply who we are. So we're fixing something that is not supposed to be fixed, right? And with human design, it really starts all about fully accepting who you are and not seeing yourself as broken, but seeing yourself as whole. And from that place, the whole deconditioning work can be done much more targeted, much more efficient, right? So, and that has also opened up money and abundance for both of us. You know, first with our private clients, that's mainly the entire work we do now is with human design. If that's just a reading or a longer term one-on-one work or group programs, now we have the certification. And we have had people ask us, okay, how much money can I make with human design, right? Look, anything is possible. I can tell you for us, we made 100K in our first year of doing business together, right? That's here to inspire you. And we tend to not talk too much about money because we're also very big on like, because I never want you to sign something up to, oh, I can make money with this. No. But you also need to see that there's a possibility, but it will be your responsibility. It's the actions that you take. It's what you're going to do with that, right? It's how much you trust yourself, right? And every story is a little bit different. But I truly believe because human design is such a life-changing tool for all of humanity, and there's so many possibilities. If you guys have watched the training we did about the ways of that we see how human design can be used, they're numerous. There's like in any field of work, you can actually use human design. And we need more people to do that, right? We are just one-on-one. We are two people, and we are really good at teaching human design to other people and helping you step into your power so that you, in your own unique way, can take this tool out into the world. Because we envision a world where every single human is fully in their power and is doing the thing that really comes easy to them and that lights them up. There will be a win-win for all of humanity.
And I wanted to go into, we mentioned that we've been certified. So we've been certified in quantum human design, and the difference between these two things. Quantum human design is really expansive within the wording, quantum wording, all of that. That's how we were trained. After we finished, we dove more so into the traditional human design. And that's what makes us different. We use the quantum as well as the traditional. So the traditional grounds you into some of the yuckiness, the shadows and fears, whereas quantum didn't do that. It was more like I didn't feel grounded in that space. And I feel like it's important for you to be grounded in knowing those fears and knowing those shadows, embracing those shadows, because you have to go through those shadows to be able to go through those shadows. You can't just ignore them, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how ours is different. It's quantum and traditional so that you get both. You ground into that, and then we help you go further into potentiality. Like your chart is your chart, but then what? What's next? How can you create more? So that is how ours is different. So I know that we mentioned we've been certified, but ours is different because we actually combine the both plus the deconditioning.
Yeah, and we are not using the quantum human design terminology, right? That's something there's books about out there, but the way that we teach is really, we dive into the higher frequencies of the aspects on the chart and everything like that. But we don't avoid or resisting the shadows, because that is just so important, because it's in the shadow that we can unlock the gift, right? And what you resist persists. So we actually and we do the deconditioning way in a very fun and kind of a light way, because very often like the inner healing work is done in a heavy way, right? It's like, oh, I have to do this and this is really sad. But we do it in a very, very empowering way. And yeah, so that kind of combination is really what we have seen works the most magic for people. And now we wanted to just show you guys a little bit of what's actually in the certification, right? Because you may be interested, especially if you're one line or have gate 48, you may want to know what's in there. And we have that all on the website. So you have a link, you can read it all. So we have 8 modules. There will be video trainings. We're really good with not having too long of videos so that you can be there with your attention and then continue on later on. So it's like smaller like sizes. And people have told us that works really well for them. There's 8 live calls, 1 per module, and there's also a private community, which is actually huge because you get to connect with us, you get to ask questions, you get to engage with others, you get to share your own reflections and all of that, right? So the more you use it, the more you will get out of that as well. And who is this for? Well, we like to call it conscious leaders. Like if you're a coach, energy healer, a business owner, executive, if you work with children, if you're a school teacher, there's so many ways with that, right? And it's especially for you if you have this really deep desire to embody your own human design more, right? You want to get to know yourself more, so you're even more grounded in who you are and fully step into your authenticity. And really embody with more ease, where you're like, yeah, I follow my strategy and authority. That's what I do, right? And then from that place, become more magnetizing. And then in whatever way or form that feels good to you, you also you want to apply human design in your own offers with your clients. If that's giving readings, if that's creating products and services, live events, there's so many possibilities, right? And you're really here to you want to also be financially compensated for what you do, right? That's also something we will support you with in terms of mindset and the energetic work with that. And then also really make an impact in the world that is fulfilling, right? Where you just like, you wake up and you're like, I just love what I do. And it's such a joy to give this gift to people. And then what do we have here? So here is just a little overview. I'm not going to go into too much depth here. Miranda, you want to go over that? The modules?
Yeah, so we have 8 modules. The first module, we really go into the foundations. It's kind of a slower approach, clearing the clutter, clearing the space. You have vocabulary, we get you your workbooks and all that. So we're kind of preparing, right? So you're getting all the things. Starting some of the deconditioning, because we do offer the deconditioning as far as pre-recorded, and you also get live 2 monthly classes, or some months during the summer will be recorded because I'll be out and about traveling, but you still receive those meditations and work together. Then the module 2, we actually start with the centers before the energy types, because in the beginning, that's how it all started. It started out with the centers first. So we go deep into the centers, the consistency and variability. So what it means when it's colored in, if it's white, the splits. And then we always offer implementation integration. That's the deconditioning. So we use this throughout the entire process, because you have to let go of who you are not before you really get to embody who you are. So we do this through the entire course. Module 3, we go deeper into all the types, and we have it split up so that later on, let's say you're doing readings, you can go back to that very easy, going manifesting generator, look at the information so you can be supported while you're going into those types and not have to try to look for these hour-and-a-half videos and get the information. Everything is clear and defined for you so that you can go back to it very easily, so that you're supported when you start going deeper into with your own clients.
Yeah, and we give you very practical tips as well from our own journey as coaches and integrating human design into our business. We also always integrate parenting for the types as well in the training. Then we go into the non-energy types, projector and reflector. Then we dive into the lines and the profiles, the quarters, the incarnation cross. Then you will get access to the 64 gates and 32 channels, like a workbook. We talk about the planets and the life cycles that we have typically in human design that you can also really support your clients with. So that really helps to know about that as well. And then this is probably one of the most favorite ones for people. Like we actually talk about readings and what type of readings you can do. And people have loved this so far, because we don't tell you exactly like from A to Z how we do a reading, but we will share with you how we have done it, how we have approached it. And that's one of the things our students are very quickly confident to give readings. Even like halfway through the program, they have given readings, and they're so amazed of how life-changing this is, and there's such a charge for it. So that has been we're really proud of that, to be honest. We also talk a little bit about the 4 variables, the errors, and then finally conscious sales and relationships, because sales is important, right? So we talk about how you can tap into that more in your own business. So this is more like a business module in a way, and also has a lot to do with how it is when people come together in relationships, and also in personal and in business as well. So these are the modules. And then we also I'm not gonna.
I decided to join Aligned
Let's listen
Living
to it.
Academy with Miranda and Annalena.
It's Allison.
After wanting to really incorporate something new into my coaching business, something that I thought would bring my clients some more awareness and really assistance in their journey. And Aligned Living Academy, when I heard about it, I was really excited because I knew that Miranda and Annalena had been coaches, and I knew that they really could incorporate the coaching and the human design in a really great way. I also, when I came into the program, I wanted to know and discover human design for myself. In my coaching, I had really not felt in alignment with kind of the typical practices of attracting clients, some of the marketing that are kind of the standards that seem to be for the industry right now. And I wanted to see if, you know, by learning more about my own human design, I could feel more in alignment with my business. And so far on the certification, Miranda and Annalena have totally delivered. The content is done so well, it's so well organized, and human design can be really complex. And Miranda and Annalena have just really distilled the information in such a way that it's easy to understand. You're really getting the information that you need to get. And they really work on it in a way that it's a progression that just builds on each other. And it's just really the perfect way to learn human design, in my opinion. And the live calls are so supportive. The community just brings that added element to the certification that, again, makes you feel like you're so supported and that the content is easy. It's easy to learn this complex topic and be able to bring it to your client. The other thing I would say about this program is that I would just recommend it to anyone, especially who are coaches that want to add that extra element to their current coaching programs and their current coaching business. I was a little nervous about the investment, as I typically am when I'm looking for a new program, but I will say that this is well worth the investment in this program. Again, the content, the support, the ability to be able to take the content and transition it into your coaching business is so on point. Annalena and Miranda have done an amazing job with the certification, and I would recommend it to anyone.
I totally love it. I haven't listened to it in a while. So yeah, Allison, she took the certification and she is integrating that in her business, and she has really found a totally different way of approaching her own business, right? Of how she attracts client and also the transformation that she can provide to her own clients. So this is, of course, our invitation, right? So that's the investment. We already talked about it. Is $3,333 pay in full, or we also have a 4-month payment plan that makes it a little bit easier, right? 4 monthly payments of $888. We also have some pretty awesome bonuses. One of them is a 7-chakra deconditioning bundle, where I'm using the infinity healing technique that has been really powerful for people. That's one of the deconditioning practices. You also get, like Miranda said, twice a month, the meditation practices from Miranda. And then in every module, that's actually, we didn't really show this like in the modules, like in every module, Miranda and I were also sharing one other deconditioning modality, because we want to invite you to find something that works for you, because it's not like, oh, this is one deconditioning, as you may know, there's lots and lots of different ones out there, but to kind of find your own thing that really works for you, so you can kind of experiment a little bit with that. If you're managing, especially, you may enjoy it.
It's also good too to have, I know you do Kundalini, but it's also good to have a couple different things that you're aware of if you're working with others, because not everyone really likes one thing or another. We have to find that thing that really resonates with them. So by having the awareness of these different modalities as well, then you can even think about bringing them in with your clients.
Yeah, and some of you may already be certified in some healing, energy healing modalities and stuff like that. There's also a human design and one-on-one done for you presentation. I think you get access to that in module 6 or something like that. It's also like a bonus. Because that can help you really like to have a presentation that's already kind of done if you want to start to share more about human design with your clients, with your community, or you want to create a webinar and stuff like that, right? And there's a couple of other bonuses, I think some workshops that we have, and one special bonus that we have decided to offer to everybody that signs up is like a workshop around money and voice. So I will be focusing on the money part so that you really step or look at your human design chart, you know where you may be repelling money from your not self, and how you can be more of your authentic self and be more bold about it and take the actions that align for you, and actually so really change how you feel around money and actually selling and not seeing this as some kind of unethical thing, right? I'm selling, but I don't want to sell. But you actually get to enjoy participating in the flow of money, because that is really important. Let's be honest. So it's kind of like diving into those scarcity fears and releasing them for good, right? And then Miranda will focus on the voice.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different things within the chart that can make us swallow our voice or not use our voice. So with this, you'll learn some of the things that have been holding back from using a voice, really what you're here to speak about, how you speak, why maybe you haven't been heard, how to put yourself out there in your business that feels good. Money and voice are huge. So you learn about the money blocks, right? And then you get to learn about, okay, how do you bring that out in your voice and how you market and how you put yourself out there into the world so that you feel confident and you're not afraid to say certain things. So we go into the chart and different aspects in there so that you learn about these things so you can feel more confident in the way that you're bringing yourself out there. And you know what? It will be probably a stretch for you, which is great, because that means that's where you've been blocked. So
yeah, so this will be like a 2-part workshop where I will be doing the money part, Miranda will be doing the voice part, which will happen, and you will receive the details if you decide to sign up, will be happening towards the end of the certification as a bonus for everybody. So I think that's it, right? And then the final thing is, if you still feel like, okay, I still have questions, or most likely it will be more like, okay, is this really aligned for me? Am I following my strategy and my authority? Or am I in my head? Am I acting from fears or not self? You can also book a complimentary 50-minute clarity call with either Miranda or I, and where we can assist you to make your aligned decision, because we know sometimes that can be a little bit tricky to know if it's really, if you're in the head or if it's from the body, right? So we will drop that, or in the email that we send out, or drop it in the comments here below this video. You will have the link to that as well. Yeah, and we start on May 25th. So that's also the last day to sign up. 2023. Okay, I think that was it. Ramsey, thank you so much for being here. Do you have any final questions? Anything else that came up from what we talked about?
No, I'm so thrilled. I'm so grateful that I jumped on here. I slept in late, so I kind of like woke up and came, and then I was like, I'm just like, I'm feeling very electrified. So thank you guys so much. I'm gonna wait until I get into a neutral space before I make my next move. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys, truly.
Oh, awesome. So happy you made it. And anybody that was here on the replay, we're sending you also so much love. Thank you for sending in some of your questions. That really means a lot to us. And let me tell you, that helps a lot. Like the questions you guys send in, they will help other people so much as well, right? So yeah, let's keep changing the world through human design, and please feel worthy to get compensated with money. That is part of the game, right? And yeah, we can't wait to get in touch with you soon, and trust that you really enjoyed this workshop, live Q&A, interactive session. So, okay, bye everybody.